Today's focus for understanding characterization is looking at how writers develop character through the things they do. This is their actions and reactions. So what is the difference between an action and a reaction? An action is something that the character does, whereas a reaction is a response to physical or mental stimulus. Let's take a look at this example of the picture of the person to the left. The action is he smacks his hand against his head. This could be a response to realizing he forgot something important, which would be the reaction to something. What does this show us about his character? By itself, it simply shows that he feels bad that he forgot something. But when looking at character development, you need to analyze how multiple actions work together. If he follows this action with a shrug and then he carries on and is happy with the rest of his day, what might we learn? Maybe he doesn't sweat the small stuff. If he follows this action by shaking his head and murmuring to himself that he's so stupid, we might learn that he's hard on himself. So we're already seeing two different characterizations based on two different reactions. Let's look at another example. The picture to the left shows a girl putting her hands to her face and squealing with delight. This possible reaction could be to her father asking her if she wants to play a game. Is this behavior normal, somewhat expected of a child of this age? Yes, but what if a 16-year-old or a 60-year-old acted and reacted this way? What would it tell us about that character? It would be unusual behavior and something to note about their character. So you should take note when a character does something unexpected. Now let's look at some actions and reactions that aren't actually physical ones. Imagine that this character represents someone who refuses to see things that are going on around her. We can see this action as she is metaphorically putting her hands over her eyes. You might also have heard the term turning a blind eye. This could be a reaction to the fact that she doesn't want to deal with certain issues in her life, so she avoids seeing them or acknowledging that they exist. Remember, when looking at character development, you need to analyze how multiple actions work together. It can be a little easier to analyze physical actions because the author describes an actual action. With non-physical reactions, you need to consider how the character reacts to events, people, etc., and try to figure out why they react that way. So we're looking at character motivation for that. Now let's look at some textual examples when we don't always have a visual. Here's an example. Liam, Jen, and Ruby are on the playground, and Ruby sees Liam kick Jen in the shins. Jen starts crying, and a teacher walks over. Ruby could have possible reactions such as the following. One possible reaction could be Ruby runs away to find the teacher. Or maybe Ruby says, "You're going to pay for this." Or maybe we see Ruby react by saying, "Liam, don't do that. You hurt her." These are three very different reactions. Each one would suggest something different about her character. Let's change the situation a bit. Liam, Jen, and Ruby are on the playground, and Ruby sees Liam kick Jen in the shins. Jen starts crying, and a teacher walks over. Ruby knows that Liam is already on thin ice, and he will get suspended if he gets in trouble again. So she says, "It was my fault, Mrs. C." What does Ruby's behavior tell you about her? So we know her behavior is taking the blame for what happened. This might tell us that she's protective of Liam. Maybe it tells us that she wants to keep the peace. Or maybe we think that she's afraid of Liam and we're going in that direction. To truly analyze your character, you need to look at more evidence from the text, which is what we're going to practice next.